Gamey Daddy.
Hello everyone, this is Emmett with Gamey Daddy and I'm here with another video from Tom Clancy's The Division. So as I promised, this is the second part of the video and I already have an alternative build for you. So I titled it Value Pricing. Pretty much I've decided to go ahead and replicate a build that's going to work just as well as this build, but for a lower price. Now take into consideration that I've actually not put a price for a GPU because this is where you're going to spend the most part of your money on one item. So let's look at some of the components that I've picked out. I've picked out another processor that uses a different motherboard socket and DDR3 RAM. The reason I went with the i7-2600 is because it's on the LGA 1155 and uses DDR3. Now, if to you all this doesn't make sense, I'll just show you something that will probably make it more compelling. Now, this processor and this processor, I'm going to show you their performance comparison. Now here on this website called CPU Boss, this is where you can just come and take a snapshot of, you know, different processors and how they actually work in comparison to each other, right? So the i5-6500 was released in 2015. This i7 that I'm actually, you know, recommending was released in 2011. Now both of them, if you look at the ranking that they give them based on certain benchmarks, it's actually not too bad. This is an 8.2, this is a 7.8. Now if you come and also look at the differences in, you know, things like performance, single core performance, integrated graphics, performance per watt, and in value, you're gonna find out that yes, the i5-6500 does beat the other one in value, but it's beating it by only like 0.5 points or 1 point something points overall. Now for that difference, you're gonna pay $100 or $90 is the difference between both of them. This i7-2600 is $100 on eBay, flat rate, straight up. You can pay $100 for it on average. And so just looking at the prices, yeah, some people are asking 150, some people are asking 100, some people are asking a little bit over, some people are asking less. And then also another thing you got to consider as well is the platform that it's on uses the DDR4 memory. Right now, DDR4 is very expensive. I mean, 16 gigs of DDR3 will run you $80, whereas 16 gigs of DDR4 is going to run you a little bit more than that. So let's look at DDR4. 16 gigs on eBay. I just use eBay for pricing because you can get everything. Like it's about $150 to buy a DDR4. This is the Corsair Vengeance. This is the most, in my opinion, the most popular DDR3, DDR4. I don't know if they even made DDR3 of these, but this is the most popular RAM that gamers everywhere use. But you can see a common thread: 180, 160, blah blah blah. Whereas if you just did a search for DDR3 RAM, everything is around 90 bucks or less. Look, two of them is $80 or $3 of shipping. The G.Skill Trident, I use this in my other computer. It works very well. I mean, 100 bucks for 16 gigs. So the price difference is very significant for you to want to actually do this if money was something you were looking at. Now, if money wasn't a thing for you and you can spend, you know, $1,000, you're probably not going to be watching this video other than just for the knowledge to be able to go build a computer like this. And yes, if you want to do that, then you already have a price, you know, comparison. You already have prices for the components and everything you need. Another thing I didn't talk about is the operating system, and I'm going to assume that you're going to use Linux, which is free, and you can run Steam on it, and it's going to play a video game for you. Or you can go on Paul's Hardware on YouTube here, and he has a video on how to get Windows for $20. It's not like something that is a secret. A lot of PC people know that you shouldn't pay full price for an operating system. I'm not going to talk about it here, but everybody knows about it. So if you need to ask questions, ask in the comments. Somebody will answer your question for you. Now, what was that? Okay, graphics card. So I've put together a list of some graphics cards that I would recommend for, you know, playing the Division game. Now, these graphics cards are 4 gig graphics cards. They have 4 gigs of RAM, and some of them here I've actually used. I've used the R9 290. I've used the GTX 980. I've used the 980 Ti. I have not used the R9 380, but I've used the RX 480. And I have an R9 380. I think that's what it is. R9 380, yes. And which other graphics card have I used? Okay, I have the GTX 1070 right now. So I've used these graphics cards in building my, and like I said, this PC, I've been building it for a year. I've been buying all these components and flipping them for more money to be able to buy a better component. So I didn't just shell out $877 right off the bat. It was a process. Building a PC is a journey. So when you build and when you want to install your graphics card, note that you can also upgrade that graphics card as well. So you're not going to be stuck with it. So if for your sake you say, okay, I want a graphics card that's not going to cost me more than $200, I would recommend the R9 380 for you, because the graphics card actually does a good job. I've played the Division with it. Now, is it going to play the Division 2? I think it will. The reason I think so is I think developers will structure and streamline their games to be able to work on your existing hardware. I don't think Massive or Ubisoft wants you to have to go get a better computer to be able to play their game. Now, they're going to have to scale it down for the computers, but if you have a better computer, then you can start scaling up your graphic settings to ultra or to 4K and all that stuff, and then your components are able to then, you know, give you a better graphical quality. But if you don't have components that can do those things, then you're just going to have to play the graphics quality that your components can go with. That's the beauty of PC gaming. So if you spend $150 on an R9, you know, R9 380, well, your price tag is at $674. Now, $674 honestly is also pretty steep. I'm talking about, and I told you before, the $650 price tag is where you can actually get away with a mid-range computer based on today's current pricing. If you go for some good stuff. Now, take into consideration that you can also get a deal, not on eBay, maybe on your local buy-sell trade or your Craigslist with stuff like this, right? Now, also another thing that a lot of people do when they build computers is they factor in components that they already have. So think about this, right? You're not going to, I wouldn't recommend you spend $130 on a new monitor. In fact, don't buy a 27-inch 60 hertz monitor. If you're going to go up, wait till you can afford a 144 hertz monitor so you can get the very best of everything. You understand what I mean? So in this case, when I first built my computer, I used the 32. We had an extra 32-inch TV, and I actually used that TV at first. Now, in this context, even though that TV cost me some money, but in the context of building this computer, it's gonna be $0 to the overall price of my build. Now, that opens some financial leeway for me to actually upgrade my graphics card. So I can go to an R9 380, or sorry, an R9 390, sorry, not a 380, which is an 8 gigs, you know, graphics card, and it's gonna cost me about $250 on eBay. I looked up the price. If you don't believe me, look it up yourself. So about $250 this graphics card, and we're still at a $644 price range, but now we've just given you better quality on your gaming. Now, the other graphics card is going to give you good quality as well, but this is just going to give you a little bit of a step up. Now, it does consume a lot of power, so what I've done is I've increased the price of this your instead of paying $39 for your 500 watt power supply, I gave you the price of a 600 watt power supply, which will happily carry all these components. It will happily power them all. Now, other things you have to look at is a gaming mouse and a gaming keyboard are not necessary to game on PC. They really aren't. Now, some people, you can buy mice and keyboard from all the way from $5 all the way to hundreds of dollars. But I would say a generic wired mouse is not $14, or a generic keyboard is not $30. And most likely, chances are that you have a computer in your house that you can actually convert into a gaming PC. So if you have a mouse, you have a keyboard, you can also zero these numbers out in order to save some money in this context. And now you're at $600. So little components here and there do add up. Now, if you have a computer in your house and it's not being used, say it's sitting in a corner, chances are that computer has a hard drive in it. Now, the hard drive may not be 1 terabyte. It may be 320. Oh, goodness, it may be even 500 gigs. I mean, that's more than enough to power the Division game and a few other games. And if that's you, you're most likely going to zero this out. And now you're sitting at $560 as a price tag. Ladies and gentlemen, the Xbox One X costs $499. So for the performance of something, this gaming PC is going to nuke this Xbox One X. I mean, it's going to take it and it's going to eat it for breakfast. For an extra $60, you've already built yourself a gaming PC that's going to work for you. Now, another thing is, some people prefer Nvidia. They will say, oh no, don't buy Radeon. Well, whatever. You can buy a GTX 980 for this, or you can buy a 980 Ti for about $400. It's older, but it's still, for some reason, it's going for $350 to $400. So on the low end, and you're here at $660 if you can factor in all these things. Now, we're going to look at compatibility, but I'm going to do that in another video. We're going to look deeper into graphics cards, and I'm going to show you how, if you find a deal on a graphics card, how you can go check the price and how you can go check the performance in different games. And some games are poorly optimized, some games are really GPU tasking, some are CPU tasking, and we're gonna see if this gaming PC that I've actually built here, in theory, can actually, you know, play some of the most popular games and some of the most tasking games. So let's leave that for another video. This is all price analysis. So if you think you have any question and if there's something you don't understand, leave it in the comments. This is an ongoing process. This is the first time I've ever done a video like this, but I hope this actually gives you a picture of what it's like to actually build a gaming PC. It's not a one-time deal, it's a journey. So thank you for your time and your audience. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Most importantly, I want to hear what you guys think, especially those of you that are veteran PC players. The new guys that are trying to come into this are going to be asking questions, so keep an eye out and answer questions as, you know, appropriately as possible. Thanks once again for your time and your audience, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Peace.